Hi ladies, I am so happy to be here with you today. My name is ko&crew. I am a Marine Corps wife and a friend of Deanna's. I'm so glad that she asked me to come and share my heart with you, and I'm hoping that these next 5 to 7 minutes today will leave you feeling refreshed and inspired and ready to serve within your friendships. Being a military wife for 14 years, we've moved around a lot, which means I have to restart my friend group everywhere we go. And that can be a hard and trying thing, especially if you move into an area that maybe isn't so military populated. A lot of times it feels like you have to fight your way into a new church to make friends, or fight your way in at the preschool drop-off line to try to make friends and make connections. And so often that alone, just saying you're going to have to fight for a friendship, will stop people in their tracks, and they'll say it's too hard, it's not worth it, the risk is too high, my life's really busy, I don't have time for this. But Jesus was the greatest of all friends, and as Christians, that means we should be trying to live like him and be his hands and feet, regardless of how hard it is. And it is something that I have taken seriously over these past few years with moving to new duty stations and realizing that there are so many people around us, military or not, there are so many women around us that have this deep desire for connection and friendship. And if we do a little bit of hard work and we do a little bit of service, the payoff and the reward can be sweeter than you can even imagine. I, thankfully, growing up, had a mom who was amazing at serving others. She constantly opened the doors to our home, welcomed people in for meals, for craft days, whether she ran a bus stop Bible study because our house was on the corner of the bus stop, and she would bring in all those little kids while they're waiting for the bus, and she'd sing like 3 quick songs about Jesus with hand motions, a Bible verse, and then send them on our way. She was constantly serving others that were in her immediate surroundings. She wasn't fighting for it. And so that was just a great lesson for me, is to watch her and how she served and then try to emulate that. Which then you can also circle back around to, our children are always watching us. So if we get this down now, we are setting up future generations to continue to serve and love others in their own neighborhoods, in their own little tiny circles, but also spreading out into the rest of the world. Just like a drop of water and those ripple effects, bringing people into your home and loving them well will ripple out, and you will see so much from doing that. Okay, first I'm going to tell you a little story about how I had to learn to stop fighting to find a way in. This was 3 duty stations ago. We ended up in an area that was not military populated, which meant most of those people had been there for generations and generations. That is a hard church to walk into. They had a women's tea that they were hosting, and they were asking for volunteers to host tables. So you didn't need to bring extra people in to your table. They just wanted you to set it up, lay out your plates, your napkins, flower arrangements. That's my jam. Like, I love doing that. Every duty station, I'm hauling all this china around with me. So I thought, yes, this is my way in. I'm gonna show them how good I am at this. And people are just gonna be like, what? We wanna be friends with Ko. I was fighting too hard, and I learned a really big, very hard lesson that day. I got to the church early. I found a table. I set it up. And I went to town, little tiny chai candied almond favors and this beautiful flower arrangement. And truly, I poured my heart into that table. But I don't think my heart was where it was supposed to be. And God let me learn a hard lesson that day. Everybody started filling up the church. Everybody was picking tables, sitting down with their friends, their daughters, their cousins, their mother-in-laws. Like, this was a generational church. Nobody sat at my table. Nobody sat at my table. And I had to sit at my table by myself for the whole program, and I was crushed. And at first I was angry. At first I was very angry at the church for not welcoming me in, and there's a part of that yes, could be addressed. But in reality, my pride was hurt. My pride was so hurt that I would have done something so beautiful and nobody would come. And on the way home, I felt like Jesus was telling me, Ko, your heart wasn't in it. You weren't serving with the right heart. And I thought, but look at everything I did. Why wouldn't anybody want to be around that? And who knows why nobody sat at my table. But it reminded me, and it left a huge imprint on my heart, that flashy, showy service is never what Jesus wants in our heart. Never what Jesus wants us to do. And as I show you all some pictures and I tell you what I'm doing now, this has taken me years to cultivate. It might look flashy and showy to you, but Jesus has worked on my heart, and this is where I'm at now. But this isn't where I was at 10 years ago. So there's a poem that I want to read to you before I share with you how I do service in my community and for my military friends and extended friends. But I want to read this poem to you first. My mom sent this to me a few years ago, and every time we move, whether it's into an apartment or a huge house, we never know what we're going to live in, I read this poem and I remind myself of what I'm capable of because of what Christ has put in my heart. And it says, "The woman that could move about a house, whether it be a mansion or a camp, and deftly lay a fire and spread a cloth and light a lamp, and by her loving touch give the look of home wherever she may be, such a woman will always seem great and beautiful to me." What a wonderful reminder for us that we don't need to live in a mansion. We can live in a camp. We can live in a tiny apartment. We can throw down a tablecloth, light a little candle. We can go get takeout pizzas. But our loving touch, our loving heart, is what's going to be great and beautiful to all of those around us. So what you have, what inspires you, what God has given you the gift to do, when you do it with your loving hands and with your loving touch, it is great and it is beautiful. And I am so excited to be around a group of women that are continuing to better themselves this way and find how they do service and friendship. For me, it goes back to Proverbs, this verse in Proverbs 27 verse 9, and it says, "The sweetness of a friend refreshes the soul." Isn't that lovely? The sweetness of a friend refreshes the soul. That inspires me so much, because if people can come into my home and I can love on them with the love of Jesus and they leave refreshed, that's like cloud nine for me. So what I do for my friends and my family is I open up my home and I pick a craft, a yummy food, and oftentimes a little tiny thing to send them home with. And then I clean up my living room, close all the bedroom doors, and I make it so sweet in my house that they never feel rushed, they never feel like they have to leave, and it's all about just serving them, putting a little pretty salad in front of somebody and some soup, and giving them the time to sit and rest. And then maybe we do something fun and cute with our hands, whether it's a painting or a little fabric craft, but just a time to rest. And didn't Jesus always want his disciples to just come and rest? And they were always being so busy and moving on to the next thing. And he would always say, "Can't you just sit with me? So can't you just sit with your friends? Can't you just lay a cloth, light a candle, and be with your community?" So I hope that this inspires you today, that wherever you're at, whatever walk of life you're in, that you can pause and serve those around you and watch the ripples. Love you, ladies. Have a great day.